Good evening and welcome to the Murfreesboro City Board of Education meeting. We'll now call the meeting to order. Dr. Gilbert.
Yes, Ms. Wade, I had the privilege the other day of having lunch with the students that are before you, and they are from John Pittard, and I'm going to ask Ms. Barton to introduce them.
Thank you so much for having us. I've got three very excited children with me tonight. I have Tristan Yang, Tommy Gonzalez, and Riley Moore, and at this time they're going to lead you in the Pledge to Allegiance.
And after the Pledge of Allegiance, would you please remain standing for a moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. And we'd like to thank Mrs. Barton and the students from John Pittard for our pledge tonight. If we could get a motion for the approval of our agenda, we have removed on our agenda item number B under reports and information. It's our academic update, and we will have that at our next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good evening to all that are in attendance, and good evening to you, Dr. Gilbert, Communications.
Thank you. First, I'd like to congratulate Nancy Rainier and Jared Barrett. At our recent TSBA meeting, they received their boardsmanship level 1 pin and certificate, so congratulations. I think it's wonderful that our board is extremely active in learning more about education and their responsibilities, so thank you. We had Reading in the Schools today on September the 20th, and I'd like to thank those board members that participated and also the community members that participated. Read to Succeed is a wonderful partner of ours, and we very much appreciate the fact that they help facilitate having folks in all of our classrooms. Also, we'd like to announce that the Murfreesboro Middle Half Marathon and Murph's Fun Run will be held on Saturday, October the 12th at MTSU, and I am assuming that there are still slots for Murph's Fun Run. Right.
For children ages 6 through 13.
Great. And what do they need to do, Ms. Phillips, to register for that?
They go online and register, and the kids get a free T-shirt and a medal for participating, and there are snacks and fun bouncy houses. It's just a good time. It's had by all.
And we are very glad that you know all that information. I think you must have some connections there.
I do. And while we're paused, is it all right? I would like to take this moment to invite my colleagues on the board and all our administrative friends in Murfreesboro City Schools to participate. Come out. We'll make you judges because we give away special prizes for spirit and all kinds of things, and we make it fun.
It's a fun day. Early in the morning, but a fun day. That's all right. Mitchell Nelson Schools would like to thank Sonette P. from Bob's Parks Realty for the teacher goodie bags, and they were filled to the rim with everything from their wish list. And we'd like to congratulate Greg Lyles. He was named a Murray County Hometown Hero, so congratulations, Greg. I would like to let you know that Scales Elementary will be having a yard sale this weekend. That's the 28th from 8 o'clock until 1:30, so we'd like to invite the community out to that yard sale. And before that, though, this Thursday, we have our foundation, our City Schools Foundation, will be having their fashion show at Stones River Country Club. That will be Thursday, the 26th. It begins at 5:30. And if you've not seen Liz McPhee be the host of that, it is quite something to see. So I encourage you to come out, if for nothing else, to see that. We will be having some male models this year, gentlemen. Wanted you to know that. And so we'll have some female and male models, and it's really a good time. So anyone that would like tickets for that, if they will just contact the City Schools office, we can certainly let you know how to get tickets for that. And then finally, we would like to thank the Discovery Center. We had the Hispanic celebration this past Saturday. The Discovery Center is a great partner of ours, and you'll be hearing more about them because there's some exciting things that we have planned. But I really want to give a shout out to them for that Hispanic celebration that they produced along with our outreach team. So it was a great Saturday at Discovery Center. And those are your items of communication.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. And also, we have a birthday Ms. Phillips is celebrating probably her 25th. As close as I
Oh,
could.
29.
29.
Yeah.
But she's celebrating her 29th birthday. I hope she's celebrating all 30 days.
Oh, sure, that's a great idea.
Wonderful.
I'll tell my husband. He'll be thrilled.
And also, we wanted to let everyone know Mr. Campbell is feeling much, much better. He misses being here with us, but he wanted to let us know that he would be looking at us tonight and critiquing our meeting. So we have to be on our best tonight, but we're just wishing Mr. Campbell a speedy recovery.
Is he an armchair quarterback? Is that what
Probably.
they call that?
Well, that's a good one, Ms. Smith. Thank you. Now we're ready for a motion for consent items. Is there a motion?
So moved. I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Any disapprove? Thank you. Dr. Gilbert, action items?
Yes, your first action item is approval of the collaborative agreement, the memorandum of understanding. And I'm going to give just a little bit of background of that and go through it a little bit. And then I want, at some point, I'm going to ask Natalie Hopkins to come to the podium and also Ty Batts, thank you for being here. I didn't see you out there. But I want to thank them for their leadership. But let me talk just a little bit about this, and Mr. Ringstaff, if I make any mistakes, I'm sure that you will correct me. You will remember that this memorandum of understanding, the whole process of collaborative conferencing, is a result of the change in the state law that really did away with collective bargaining. And so now we enter a process called collaborative conferencing. That actually began last October when the board appointed a committee. And there also were teachers, the teachers met and also appointed their committee after a vote to collaboratively conference. We met on July the 19th, the committee met. It was a very good meeting, and with some slight tweaking of the decisions made at that meeting then, you did receive last Thursday for approval tonight the copy of the memorandum of understanding. Basically, the memorandum of understanding is taken from board policies, administrative directives, and state law. There are a couple of things in here that were collaboratively developed, but if you'll look at page 2, where the information, the meat of the information is, if you look at under association access, that was part of the former contract. The grievance procedure is part of the board policy and is board policy. If you'll go on over a couple of pages to representation, this also has to do with the grievance process. This paragraph was collaboratively developed with the committee. Facilities and safety, part of the old contract, and then teacher work hours, number 5, is part of an administrative directive. If you look at number 6, which is duty-free lunch, that basically is state law, as is number 7, which is duty-free planning time. Activities beyond the regular school day, this was something that was addressed in the former contract. Access to files is something that was collaboratively discussed and decided upon. And then duration, of course, this is for a period of 3 years. The thing that I'm really proud about this is the fact that the board and the teachers that are known as professional employees, so it's really not just the teachers, but have a relationship that we can reach a memorandum of understanding. That is not required by the state law. In fact, state law does not require that there even has to be an agreement. But I'm very proud that that the teachers feel comfortable with us, I hope, that we can sit down and we can discuss and we can reach decisions. So at this point, I'd like for Natalie and Ty to come to the podium, please. And I know you did not know I was going to ask you to do this, so I apologize, but then I want you to know how much we appreciate what the teachers do every day, and I want you to know that this board certainly appreciates what the teachers do, and I want you to know how much I personally appreciate the fact that you'll call me whenever there's an issue that you think I need to hear, because I think that's really important. I would like for you all, if you would, to take just a second to let the board know whatever you think they need to know about this, because I know it was new.
I just want to say that the process itself was really easy, and the reason it was easy is because both teams put the work in and worked together, and gave suggestions, and we all just handled what needed to be handled, and it worked out beautifully. And so we were really pleased with that. I don't think there's anything surprising in this. I don't think there's anything to mention. I wasn't ready for that. So I don't think there's anything to mention, but we'll answer any questions certainly if you have any. But we also appreciate the relationship that we have with everybody on that team, and you as well. It just worked out well and went well, and we were really pleased with the end result.
I was in a little accident, so I have a little lisp. So I'm trying to speak. Sorry.
Ty, you have to get well. This is just ongoing with you.
I wasn't expecting this. Sorry. Anyway, it was a really wonderful experience because it was great to work with everyone on both sides, and it was an open experience because you all were very receptive to what the teachers wanted and what the teachers thought that was best for us and really the well-being of our students, which is what our primary focus is. And we just appreciate the open-mindedness and always being willing to listen about our concerns of everything that we have. And it was new for me because this is my first time. And luckily, we had Natalie there who had been on the collective bargaining team when we had a contract and et cetera to guide us through this process, and Mr. Ring's staff as well, and you. And it was just wonderful. So we appreciate everybody who was there in the administrative side of it. And it was a really good experience.
Any question that the board has about either the document or the process or?
I don't have a question. I was just so impressed by the document about how well represented the teachers were. Y'all weren't asking for very much, but it was put on paper, and I really appreciate that. I'm so glad that it was such an easy process for you. Thank you for working on it.
Ms. Phillips.
I'm glad we can offer something. I wish that, I wish we could go back a day or two, if y'all understand what I mean. But I'm glad we can offer something. I appreciate very much all the folks that worked on it. I have a couple of questions. Now, walk me through this. So once you all had come to some agreements about the items on this document, then you all took it to the teachers, is that right? Or how's that work?
No, we worked, there's a team in each side of 7, correct me if I'm wrong, Ralph, we have 14 people total, 7 and 7. And those people met and worked on it.
Okay, so then did you have to send it to all the teachers in the system for their approval, or have they seen this document?
No, ma'am, that's not how the 7 that are elected to represent are the ones that are elected for that reason.
Okay.
To make that decision.
And who were our team members?
On the team, at the very end, you'll see the names there, and it is a different process than what we would have had before. Before, you all would have gone back, and so it's
that's what's different.
Yeah, that's what's different. It's a different. The front end of it is very different because they have to agree to whether they want to go, and this has been so long ago, but whether they even want to go to collaborative conferencing, right? And then if they do, then they have to vote on who's going to represent them. Right. And of course, MEA represented, and they're called, now it's called professional employees of Murfreesboro City Schools. Right. So those, but the committee members, Don Barge, Emily Spencer, Angela Fairchild, Greg Lyles, Ralph Ringstaff, Karen Hawkins, and Gary Anderson from the school board management personnel, and I hate that word management. From the professional employees representative affiliation, we have Ty Batts, Debbie Hickerson, Luke Dickerson, Mary Vitantonio, I just call her Mary V, Natalie Hopkins, Cheryl Whitfield, and Kelly Jones.
And how long has this process been going over? Long? It seems like a long time ago we appointed that committee.
We did. But they had to, while that was going on, there had to be the decision of whether to collaborate, and this may be where one of you wants to take this over. But there had to be a decision. It was a process of they had to decide whether they wanted to go forward with collaborative conferencing, and then they had to get a vote. The employees had to vote. And that was quite a process of who would represent them. And then after that, then the committees had to be appointed. There had to be training or decision about not to have training, so we had to learn about what it looked like. And then finally sit down together. Of course, the summer is not when you were going to necessarily sit down together, so that's part of the reason.
It makes sense to me, and I really appreciate everyone's work, and it's just an impressive document. It's an impressive team effort, it seems like to me. The only thing is, I do wish the board had kind of been in the loop about where we were in the process as time was going on from time to time, to keep us updated.
Sure, thank you.
Dr. Brown?
The duration of the management or memorandum of agreement is 3 years. If there are concerns about various aspects of this document during that period of time, how is that handled?
If something has to do with the actual document itself about the memorandum of understanding,
Yes.
then our president would contact Dr. Gilbert.
Okay, so is there a formal way that that's handled, or is that just...
There's grievances in there. If you had a formal grievance, there's a procedure for that.
And it's actually matches board policy.
Yes,
With the
yes.
exception of that last paragraph.
Are there any more? Ms. Renier?
So in essence, this takes place of the normal contract that we used to have under collective bargaining for 3 years?
Yeah. It is binding. There were some things that were stipulated by the law that could not be discussed, and some things that could be discussed. I think, as I said, I think that I'm extremely proud of this because not all school districts have been able to reach decisions and been able to have memorandum of understanding. And I just think it's better if you can do that, even though I expect them to call me and I expect to call them if there's an issue. But I think having a document, I think it indicates a level of respect, and maybe I shouldn't say that, but I do.
That's what I was going to say. I think when you think of the players involved, both sides, I think that you could work a reachable agreement for sure.
The thing that I'm worried about is, and we talked about this, is that the committee had to be so large that I worried, because it's a relatively new process, I worried about breaking any of those ties that we've tried to build. And I'm just very grateful that that did not happen, because I think it is important that we hear when there's an issue.
Thank you, girl.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, Board, we will now entertain a motion for the approval of our action item.
So moved.
Seconded.
There's a motion and a second for the approval. All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Dr. Gilbert, on the reports and information.
Yes, this is the signing of and you may want to take that, Ms. Wade or Ms. Baker.
Ms. Baker?
It's every year the board goes over at a board meeting the school board accountability standards, and I believe typically y'all take turns reading a section and then sign those.
Okay. All righty, did you want to, we'll start on this end with,
So you want me to read Section 1 and Section 2, or?
you can read all of Article 1 and we'll go that way. That way it's easier to keep up with if you read Article 1 and then Mrs. Renier take Article 2, Mrs. Phillips 3, 4, and I'll finish up with my relationship to myself.
So I'll start with line 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The board adopts this code of ethics as recommended by the Tennessee School Boards Association as a guide to its members as they provide educational leadership for the youth of our state. The board further agrees that ethical issues regarding the board or its members may be referred to the TSBA Ethics Advisory Council. Article 1, My relations to children. Section 1, I will at all times think in terms of children first, always determining other important things according to how they affect education and training of children. Section 2, I will seek to provide equal educational opportunities for all children regardless of ability, race, color, sex, creed, or location of residence.
Article 2, My relations to my community. Section 1, I will endeavor to appraise fairly both the present and future educational needs of the community and to support improvements as finances permit. Section 2, I will represent at all times the entire school community and refuse to represent special interests or partisan politics. Section 3, I will endeavor to keep the community informed, pardon me, to keep the community informed about the progress and needs of the schools.
Article 3, my relations to teachers and personnel. Section 1, I will support the employment of those persons best qualified to serve as employees and insist on regular and impartial evaluation of all staff. Section 2, I will support and protect personnel and performance of their duties. Section 3, I will not criticize employees publicly, but will make such criticism to the Director of Schools for investigation and action if necessary.
Article 4, my relations with other board members. Section 1, I will recognize that authority rests only with the board in official meetings and that the individual member has no legal status outside of such meetings. Section 2, I will refuse to make promises as to how I will vote on a matter which should properly come before the board as a whole. Section 3, I will make decisions only after full discussion of matters at a board meeting. Section 4, I will respect the opinion of other members and will accept the principle of majority rule.
Article 5, my relations with the Director of Schools. Section 1, I will support full administrative authority as well as responsibility for the Director of Schools to properly discharge all professional duties. Section 2, I will support the Director of Schools' accountability for working and requiring staff to work within the framework of policies set by the board. Section 3, I will refer all complaints and concerns to the Director of Schools.
Article 6, my relations to myself. Section 1, I will be informed about my duties and responsibilities in current educational issues by individual study and through participation in programs providing needed information, such as those sponsored by my state and national school boards associations. Section 2, I will avoid being placed in a position of conflict of interest and will refrain from using my board position for personal or partisan gain. We've read it. This is BO 38, and now we'll be prepared to sign it, Ms. Ridley, whenever you want us to. Oh, okay. Well, let us go ahead and get this to Jerry.
The one we passed.
This is the one you want done. Oh, Jerry.
Jared.
Oh, it went. Well, I'll go ahead and sign it and make sure it goes down and comes back.
There's plenty of.
Yep. All righty. If you all sign this and get it back, right? All righty. Oh, yes, sir. All righty. While they're doing that, Dr. Gibber, we'll go on with personal update.
The personnel update is there. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer those. And if not, we'll go to Mr. Anderson for the construction update.
Okay, the construction update we put at your place this evening. I wanted to bring you up to date on all the different things that are going on in the district. As you know, Hobgood is open, and all the permeable pavers and drives and parking lots are completed. The final classroom casework is going on this week, and the building awnings are starting to go up now on the outside. They will be doing some final checklist issues at the school on the fall break, and should be totally completed by the end of the fall break. The Bradley elevator is completely done. The project is over with. The new West Elementary School, as you know, overall Creek is now moving along, and I've included some pictures for you in there. The first picture is an overhead shot. You can see where the groundbreaking ceremony was held. So if you look at it, it's coming from the west, looking out towards the school grounds. You can see how big the area is. It's the area that's cleaned off there for the construction. And then I just included some actual pictures of the actual construction that's going on at this time. I just wanted you to see what we're doing there. In your capital outlay projects, you had fencing at the schools. We have completed the fencing in the playground areas at Mitchell Nielsen Elementary and Northfield, and around the shop area is completed, and the staff is evaluating the remaining budget dollars to see what else we can do, how many additional schools we can add fencing to based on the priority needs. The central office roof, a while back we had some hail damage on it, and it has to be replaced. There's holes all over it, little tiny pinholes, but that is an insurance issue, and so it's not coming out of your funds, but I just wanted you to know that that'll be going on here pretty soon. We'll be accepting bids on October 10th for that particular project. The foundation work at Discovery School was also on your capital outlay list, and the architect is working on those drawings, and I'll update you when we get ready to send that one out to bid. Painting projects, as you know, we hired 2 painters for the district, and the first project that we had them go after was the project at Hobgood to repaint the outside from the old gray and blue and make it match the current brickwork, and I think they've done an absolutely wonderful job in making that school fit right in now with the older part and the newer part. The next item is the Bradley serving line area. This is an item that was not on your capital outlay because these funds are coming out of the school nutrition funds. Currently, there are metal bars in there separating the dining room from the serving area. It's the only school designed like that. We are putting a wall up and doors, and that will be for safety issues and to help protect the kitchen and serving area from the dining room. So that work is going to be done over the fall break. And then the exterior doors at M&E and M&P that were on your capital outlay plan, the documents are currently being processed, and we plan for that work to happen over the winter break because we can't obviously do that during the school time. So we're doing it at that time. If anyone has any questions on all the projects we have going on around the district, and I've included a lot of maintenance type projects that we haven't in the past just to let you know all the stuff that is happening. I'd be glad to answer any questions on any of those.
I have a question. The playground.
Okay, we have not got the bid documents put together for that yet.
So my hope is that, will that take place during a break?
That would be the only time we can really do it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Well,
We're talking about the Siegel playground resurfacing.
Yeah. Right.
So when do you think the bids will come together on that?
I'm really not sure because the maintenance department's been overwhelmed with all the projects they've got going on, all the bids they've got to get out, so I'm really not sure when. I'll check with them and find out for your next meeting.
Good, thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I can move on to the monthly revenue expenditure report. We're at the 16.7% time of the year. As you can see, we're in the net income stage of being in the red. Last year at this time, we were $1 million in the hole. This year we're 1.4. The year before, we were 3.5 million in the hole. So a lot of it has to do with timing. When you look at the revenue side, as you can see, at this point we have zero money collected on property taxes. That's normal for this time of year. But we've collected sales tax this time, so it's just whenever we receive it versus when the reports are done. You can see last year at this time we didn't have any. This year we had collected roughly $634,000. So we've collected year-to-date 8.4%. As you know, the revenue comes in later based on holidays and property tax collections. The expenditure side, we're at 10.6% of expenditures. That's up a little more than 1% over last year at this time. Really, overall, it looks fine. As you know, we had additional expenditures this year, so some of our line items are up a little bit, and some are down. It just depends on when we purchased items. For example, we purchased printing apparatus to be able to run off big maps, zoning maps and things, so that's in the attendance line, and some of the technology stuff was purchased. So we buy them right after the start of the year, and that's why those lines may be up. But overall, it's at 10.6% of the 16.7. Anyone have any questions on that one? Okay, then on the enrollment numbers, we are up 68 students over last year at the end of the year. Our pupil-teacher ratio is 19.15 for grades K through 3 and 20.35 for grades 4 through 6. That makes our district average at 19.58. Overall, our bigger classes, as I pointed out before, are in the earlier grades, and so that is a good positive trend for us to look at. So we're anticipating continued growth during the year, so we expect to have a few more students before the end of the year comes along. Anyone have any questions about that one? Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Anderson. Other business? Is there anything that you find you'd like to have added to the agenda for our next meeting?
I'd like an update on recess, please.
Ms. Ridley, if you'll add that, please, ma'am. Is there anything else, Board, that you'd like to have entertained? Dr. Gilbert, and I'd like to also thank the board members that were able to attend our district meeting. Is there anything from the district meeting that you'd like to have added to the agenda for our next meeting?
I don't think so. I think that we will be giving you, though, an academic update
Okay.
at that meeting.
All righty.
I think that's important. And of course, our friends are back from Shanghai. I'm very excited. They're presenting to the principals tomorrow. I was amazed that they were awake when I saw them at the airport Saturday night, but they were. So that's exciting that their 3 principals are back. And I think there's a lot of learning there.
And I hope at future board meetings that they'll come and
Absolutely.
report. Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
I was at Mitchell Nilsson for the reading day, and the kids were so excited about their principal being in Shanghai. That was really fun.
They had been sending back letters and pictures every day, and it was really neat to read what they were sharing. And then I shared it with the rest of the principals and assistant principals, too. So that was a good thing.
If there's nothing else, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.